Hello, I'm the Autism Dad, Victor Antunez, the inclusive Miami Realtor. Today, I'm having a conversation with Dr. Tamara Moodie. She's co-founder and executive director of the South Florida Autism Charter School, the first and only school in South Florida dedicated exclusively to autistic children. And here's Dr. Moodie. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm like, oh gosh.
Well, let's jump right into it. To a lot of people in the autism world, you are a superhero. And like any superhero, they've all got origin stories. Tell me, how did you get into autism education and how did SFACS come about?
Wow, it's such an amazing story. I met some wonderful people. I call them the godparent of SFACS, Judy and Barry Nelson. They're the founders of the Victory School. And I met them years ago just by working with their son, Jesse. And while I was there, it was $45,000 a year to attend that school. And I just felt that it was expensive and it wasn't for everyone, and the market was crashing at that time. People were losing their homes. And I approached them about this idea of doing a charter school because I don't know if you know who Robert Campbell is. He had told me about what a charter school is, and I was like, okay. I said, let me do some research on this. And shortly after, I was told that I had a parent in the school, Glenn Pierce, that builds charters. So I approached him. I called him. I was like, hi, I know you're in California, but could you tell me what a charter school is? He told me. And we applied and we got the charter. We didn't have a home.
That's great.
For the charter. And one day I was at work and I got a phone call. Hey, may I speak to Miss Tammy? Because I was Miss Tammy at the time. May I speak to Miss Tammy? I was like, this is Miss Tammy. I heard you have a charter. Okay, I'm thinking someone wants to steal my charter idea. And it was the mayor of Hialeah. He heard that we had a charter and he wanted to offer a home for the charter. So we end up being on the, 7400 West 24th Avenue by Slade Park. And we were there for 4 years. We totally destroyed the park and the police station. It was the e-library. And we started off with 81 students. And that's kind of like how it started. I even had a son, named him Slade because of Slade Park. And that's how the whole story started. I was in private school, wanted to do more for families who couldn't afford like a private school tuition. It was a great program, one-on-one. The program is still around. And I wanted to do something for families who just wouldn't be able to afford like a true ABA program. And that's how we started with 81 students.
And now?
And now we're at 300 plus students.
Look, that's
and we
awesome.
have 2 locations.
And you're expanding.
We're expanding, yes.
That's great.
We're getting a center. I call it my YMCA of autism. For me, I've always wanted a one-stop shop. And, our motto is one hope, one community, and, just this one love kind of thing.
That's great.
And it's super important that folks know that our kids are cute, right? And then they get older, and then what's next? So I wanted to be that place or that person who think about the future. So in our new program that we're expanding at South Florida Autism Center, we actually have 4 501c. We have South Florida Autism School, which is a K-12, where students stay with us until they're 22. We have South Florida Autism Center, which is what we're building now. It's a 3-story building. I don't know if you're aware, but drowning is the number 1 cause of death.
Accidental death.
Yeah, accidental death for children with autism. So we're going to have a pool.
That's fantastic.
And not to have Olympics swimmer, but to have kids who know how
drown-proof them.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we're gonna have a pool there. We're also gonna have a gym. Obesity is big in our community, and I really want to focus on teaching our kids how to take care of themselves. We're gonna have vocational programs there. Our 22 and older will be there as well. My office will be there. We're also gonna have like a childcare program. So I want to start taking kids as early as 6 months. They may not be diagnosed, but I have a very young staff, and I want to be able to keep my staff. Plus, we have parents that's been driving from Homestead for 15 plus years now to be in our program.
And some from Broward, too.
And we have students coming in from Deerfield Beach, close to West Palm. We have student the Gable. Anywhere you think of, we have students coming from there. 1/3 of our students come from Broward County. So if you're pregnant and you have a child that's coming to our school, you can drop both kids off.
That's great.
The daycare is not going to focus so much on autism, but everyone there will be ABA trained. We will have speech, OT, PT, ABT, ABA, that they can be pulled out and be given those services, or pushed in and be given those services. So that's what we're building. We just broke ground. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what that's going to be. But I call it my YMCA of autism. I really need to stop doing that, but it's my YMCA of autism.
That's fantastic.
And then we have the villages, which is the residential. Not sure if we're going to be partnering with other folks, because some really good people are doing some really good job. Casa Familia is doing some really good work out there. Maybe we could partner eventually with them.
You never know.
For my side of the population. I call them my side of the population because my students all have an IQ of 6 or 7 and below. They're the most involved.
Wait. All your students? How does that work?
Well, they're supposed to. So all my
autistic.
yes. So the way how the DOE has it is that our kids are supposed to have an IQ of 6 or 7 and below.
I'm not like an IQ expert, but that sounds quite low.
It's quite low.
It is quite low.
And I publicly, I'll say I'm doing some research and some work to see how we can change that, because I do, so it could be a little bit higher, just because I've met several students over the years that have an IQ of 74, and I believe that we could help them, 75. I believe that we're still the right setting for these students, but unfortunately with this new rule, it's
What
6
rule?
or 7, that their IQ has to be 6 or 7 and below
For what?
for them to be able to be accepted in our program.
Oh, and how do you test for that?
So when they get a diagnosis of autism, the school psychologist or wherever the parents take them to be evaluated, that person then give them the IQ.
Oh, look at that.
So,
Learn something new every day. I
Yeah.
didn't know about that.
Yeah, every student like that has an IEP has probably have to be evaluated to get the diagnosis of whether it's ADHD, autism, and that they gather the information from those kind of tests to get them the IQ.
So the higher functioning autistic kids that are above 67, where do they go? Because
They go to, I guess, private schools.
Private school. Or public.
Or public school. And then there's some really good program out there that's doing some really good things for our kids. We have the student that's more aggressive, maybe not potty trained, need like more intense training on life skills, on communication, being social. And honestly, I believe that our program, because it focused so much on just giving them functional
skills.
It's really important that that they go where they're fit, what's going to work for them.
That makes sense.
And all of our kids have autism, and some kids need that neurotypical pair to be with. We don't have the neurotypical pair in our program, but what we do have is everything that their neurotypical pair would be able to experience. I make sure that I provide that for our student. So right now, as we stand and we speak, we have the only and first autism only Key Club.
And what is a Key Club?
It's a Key Club. It's an organization that our kids can be a part of. Like any school, every school has a Key Club. Yeah, I'm sure every school has a Key Club. They go and they do projects in the community.
Okay.
So we go
Okay,
and
we
did bleach cleanup recently. We've given to the Children's Hospital. We've done care packages for Camilla House. Just recently, we collected clothes for California for the families who did not have clothing. We just did a shoe drive. So we do a lot of things through our Key Club to help the community. But for me, I'm so proud of the Key Club. We also have a basketball team. We have a dance team. We have a media team. And I am super proud of these teams because it gives our kids an opportunity to experience every single thing as their neurotypical peers, their brothers and sisters. We do prom, we do homecoming. My newest project that I'm most proud of is that I was able to take 100 families and their kids to on the plane for the first time. So in December, we went to Orlando. And then we did a sleepover. We did glamping. And for our parents, that was a great, accomplishment because who would have thought? But what was so good about it, my staff was with us. So if a student was having a problem going through TSA or going on the plane, staff was right there to help.
Right.
And because of that success, we actually partnered with the city of Hialeah, and we got them to help us get our kids' passport. So right now, all my students have their passports, and we're planning to do a trip next February. So we're going to go to Jamaica just because, we're going to do that trip.
What a coincidence.
What a coincidence. So we're planning on doing that, and we have student government. at our school, SGA, and we're doing a trip with our student government next April. We're going to take them to DC.
Very
So
nice.
these are things that they wouldn't typically be able to experience.
No, usually not.
And that's why I believe in that. I'm still like you, autism through my point of
Well,
view.
let's jump into your book. 'Cause
Exactly.
We're running out of time. So you've written 2 books,
Yes.
one a children's book and one for adults.
Yes.
One for adults is I'm Still Like You, Autism Through My Point of View.
Yes.
And I love that title because I think as parents, it's very easy to bulldoze over our kids, especially for the kids who are nonverbal
Yeah.
or not very good at communicating. So let's jump right into the book.
Sure.
So chapter 1, I Can Choose.
Yes.
So in the book, you say independence begins the moment someone is allowed to choose, especially when the world assumes they can't. So what message to parents is wrapped inside that statement?
And let me tell you why I wrote it first.
Okay.
So I had a lot of students who've come to me and they were nonverbal. Now they speak. And I listen. And when a child say to me, but why? Because our neurotypical
How
child-
beautiful.
How beautiful.
How beautiful.
I celebrate that. I celebrate tantrums too. Why do I celebrate tantrums? Because typically there's something behind a tantrum. It's me telling you, no, I don't want that. I don't want to be there. I don't want to wear that. I don't want to eat that. And I believe that is so important that our kids are their biggest advocate. And we need to embrace that. So yes, I wrote that because I think it's important that we listen. And we listen to our neurotypical kids, right? They can challenge us. They can debate us. And we're like, okay, you made a point. Why not our kids with autism? So it's really, really important for me that our kids have choices. Because would you like to be told what to eat every morning?
So if a child is nonverbal, what does listening to that child look like?
Watching. Looking where they're going, looking on what, because they're telling us by just sitting beside us, by having a tantrum, pinching us, hitting us. That's all telling you, no.
There's a message.
There's a message there. And if you look and if you listen, the different cries, I use the example to my staff when I do training with them. Did you ever watch the movie Look Who Is Talking?
Yes.
To? The baby was crying. They have cries. They have different cries.
They do it.
They do.
Yeah. And as an autism dad, I can read the
You
cries
can
now.
read the cries.
Even other kids who are autistic. Yeah.
Even like me, I have 3 kids. That was a cry for hungry. I was colicky.
I need my space.
I need my space. I wanted to sleep. But if you take the time, I promise you, if I know, you are going to know because you're the parent, you're the biggest reinforcer and you're their biggest voice. And sometimes we get so caught up with the autism that we forget that. And that's the message I was trying to get through
That's
here.
wonderful. Chapter 2, I Love. This is one that touched my heartstrings because my daughter, she's nonverbal and she doesn't say I love you in the typical ways, but she still says
She
it.
says it.
But I see neurotypical daughters the way they're all about their daddies, and sometimes it hurts. And so it would be
But look at the message. Does she come and cuddle with you?
more with mom.
But does she
But
come over to
we
you
do,
once in
yes,
a while?
yes.
I'm telling you, Dad, I see you. I love you.
I know she loves me. I know she
that
loves
she
me.
touches your face.
Yes.
That's saying I love you.
I know.
Because think about how we show affection. We all have a different ways. Some people buy people things. Some people spend time. Our kids have their ways too, whether it's touching our face to remind us that they're here or sitting beside us. Because I can tell you that I could be having such a bad day at work and a student see me and, Dr. Moodie, that for me is like, I see you, Dr. Moodie. I know you're having a bad day. I love you too. Or come and they'll hold my hand or they'll come and they'll caress my face. I know that's them telling me
Yeah, that's wonderful.
that I see you and I love you.
That's right.
And when they do that, I do it back. And when they do that, I make them know, I know you see me. I know you love me. Dr. Moodie, know you love me. And they smile, and I the same thing I would do with my child. One of my daughters, when she wants something, she knows I love when they give me affection. So she'll come, Mom, I love you. And she'll come and
Well, all kids do that.
Exactly. Why wouldn't our child with autism not do that too? It's just that we're so caught up in this world that we're missing those messages that they're giving us.
I think we sure are.
So the book is look. It's all about just looking because, again, I'm still like you. So whatever you're doing, I'm doing too. It just may look a little bit different.
Yes, it does. chapter 3, there was a quote on page 24, which when I read it was like, oh my goodness. My dreams and desires may seem little to you, but to me, they're everything. Wow. What a wonderful way of putting things in perspective, because it's true. What is inconsequential to us, to them, is the world.
Big deal.
It's the world. So what truth do you want parents to take from that?
You know, I wanted to be, when I was growing up, my mom used to say to me, or people used to say, what do you want to be when you grow up a little girl? My name is I used to say, my name is Tamara Moodie, doctor, lawyer, teacher, too. I wanted to be all those things. I pretty much kind of did it. I'm not a lawyer, but I had a dream of where I wanted to be. And if someone told me when I was younger that I couldn't be those things, hurt. So what I do and what I'm asking parents to do is to see where your children, their talents, embrace that, engage that. You know, right now, one of my daughters is a sophomore in college, and I'm looking at internships for her. And this summer, we're going to be looking at because I'm going to give her that opportunity to get that dream. Even your child with autism, they love computers. Take them somewhere that they're going to be exposed to computers. You never know the talents that you're going to see. And I even talked a little bit about the dreams that they dream too, meaning like they sleep and they dream. And a behavior that that's happening, it could be a memory that they're having because they dream. So dream is so big, right? It's the dream that I want to experience things, but it's also the dream that I have memories.
Well, let me ask you about the dreams.
Yes.
When my daughter was smaller, she would have night terrors, and those have kind of like subsided. She'd never had any traumatic experiences that I know of. So what causes night terrors?
See, for my kids, I don't know. It's only guessing, right? Because a lot of things that we do with our kids is guessing.
Just guesses, okay.
It's just guesses, right? But I watch the things that they're doing. I had a little girl in particular that she would have these night things, right? But her parents were talking. They were talking
About her?
About the autism. They were fighting within the relationship. And it goes back to, I said it too. I talk about that too. You're talking about the kids thinking that they're
in front of the kid, which is so rude. And it can be hurtful too.
And it could be hurtful. So when she would go to sleep, she would be thinking and remembering the things that her parents were saying. And even though she couldn't express to them about that, you're talking about me and it's because of me, because things like that was said. You know, I'm still your husband, you know, and all you think about is the autism. How do you think that child is
It's not going to play well.
It's not going to play well.
No.
And not until she was able to express these things. And I spoke about one of my students in here. Not until she was able to tell me, Dr. Moodie, you know what? We have autism. That doesn't mean that we don't hear and we don't feel and we don't interpret things in ways that could be misinterpreted. So this is why there's a rule in my school. We don't talk about the kids in front of the kids. We don't talk about their day to their parents in front of them either.
That's wonderful. And that could apply to neurotypical kids also. Any kids.
Any kids. Again, I'm still like you. It goes back to...
Just don't communicate like you or do other things like you, but internally, the same thoughts and feelings.
And we don't even know.
And hurts.
Exactly. So for me, it's like, come on, guys, do better. Teachers, myself, anyone that has children, adults around them with autism, think about how you want to be treated.
But you know what? I think that most parents are well-intentioned. They just need to be taught because sometimes you just don't know what you don't know.
You don't, yeah. But I always say to my staff, whenever an issue comes up, how would you feel if that was you?
Of course.
Would you want me to say, you know, why is he eating that?
Terrible thing. Lost your appetite right there.
Ew. That medication must taste so hard. Like the thing, and it's not.
Let's think things through a little bit. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on to the next one. I trust. So this is an interesting one because, what does trust look like for someone on the spectrum?
Yeah, I tell a story about Christina. I asked permission to call her name. She's in my adult program. And there was one winter break. She had just come to the school. It was hard for her to trust because she was so disappointed over the years by teachers mostly. And she seeked me out on social media, and that's how she ended up come into our school. And it was the funny thing is that when she came to me, she wanted to have this relationship. And she said to me, "You're the only person who's ever taken the time to listen." Because I put myself in her shoe, right? I'm constantly doing that. She would spend hours in my office. And I knew she was going to be that child that was going to change my life.
How?
Because that was the first time I had a student that had the words to
Okay.
tell
The
me.
vocabulary to tell you.
She had the vocabulary. It wasn't just echoic. It wasn't just robotic. There was the passion behind what she was saying. And I said to her, it got to the point that I couldn't spend as much time because I was her reinforcer, right? I couldn't spend as much time with her as she wanted. And then it kind of backfired. She would get really upset, really engage in some inappropriate behavior when she couldn't get me, right? So then I said to her, "You know what, Christina? There's lots of people here like me that will listen to you." So I taught her and her teacher at the time how to build a relationship. When Christina would come to my office, I would invite her teacher in. And then I would say, "So what do you think?" And, Christina, ask your teacher. So they built this bond. The teacher went on break over the winter break and told Christina, when we come back, we're going to celebrate my birthday together. She made all these promises. She didn't come back. She gave me her letter the day before school was going to start. So when Christina came back, she was looking forward to seeing her teacher.
Because they take things very literal.
Because they take things very literal. And Christina screamed and she broke the door of my office. And she was so upset. And I said to her, "I get it." But she goes, "No, you don't. I trust her. And because I have autism, she should have trusted me." And all she had to say was, "Christina, I'm not going to come back, but you know what? There's other people here you could build a relationship with." And Christina said, "I know." And I said, "But maybe she didn't know." I know she knew, Dr. Moodie. I knew she knew. She could have at least wrote me a letter too to explain to me. And at that moment, it dawned on me, how many of my kids over the years who they came back from break and
it just wasn't said.
It wasn't said. And we looked at that as, they were with grandma or abuela over the break and they regressed.
Right.
It could have been
The teacher
left
didn't come back.
and didn't come back.
So how have you implemented maybe new rules to handle this?
So I tell all my teachers, no matter what, there's no hard feelings. Autism community in South Florida is such a small community. Let's just leave in a way that we can reach out to each other, and we can still, because I try my very, very best, and I've accomplished that. I have great relationships with my staff, and I tell them, come to the walk, come to our events. At my walk last week, I had over 10 old employees. I had employees who no longer work for me that was volunteering. And I make sure people know that and celebrate that. Going somewhere else is not bye. There's another adventure for me to go to, and I celebrate you,
like all of us,
and I support you.
Like all of us.
And I remind them, and I make Christina talk to them as well.
That's wonderful.
I think getting it from Christina,
yes,
and hearing me talk about her story, which I do during my trainings, really resonate, and they're like, I said, how would you like to be broken up? Your boyfriend break up with you over cell phone, or break up with
text. Or just disappear.
Or just ghost you. The young people say ghost you.
Yes.
How would that make you feel?
Not
That's how that's how your students
are right.
feeling.
I hadn't thought about it. You're ghost in their mind. You're ghosting them. Wow.
And I think because when I train and when I talk to parents and I talk to my staff, I use their lingo.
The younger generation.
The younger generation lingo, and I say it and I use relationship as in their relationship. How would you like it if your boyfriend or girlfriend did that to you? So, and I think because I make it relatable, this is why I've noticed that I don't have a high turnover of staff. I have staff that's been working with me for 20 plus years.
That's great.
Just because I build that bond, I build that relationship, and I make sure that they know SFACS is not Dr. Moodie. SFACS is all of us. We're only as good as our weakest link.
Of course.
And if our weakest link is not doing well, you should see how my staff and I pull them up
That's great.
by giving her hours, because we may not use all of her days. We give it to them. I have great programs embedded in the program to help. We reinforce the heck out of my staff
That's fantastic.
to make sure that they know we know I'm not the one in the classroom getting hit. You are. So I'm going to celebrate you because you make me look good.
Good.
So, yeah, that's how
All right. The next chapter is I Can Hear. So this goes back to speaking about the people around you.
Yeah, gosh.
Now, you talk about the importance of accepting children on the spectrum just the way they are. And I think it's also in this chapter, you know what I thought about? I was at an autism center, and this couple walks up with two kids. The neurotypical, he's a little bit older. The sibling is younger, autistic, and all the adults right away, they hover right around the autistic kid. And the neurotypical older brother, he was upset. Because the whole conversation was around his little brother, and everybody had forgotten about him. Which, my little boy, he's 6, so he's the baby, so it's hard to forget him. But have you seen this?
And I used to see it with our families. I don't see it anymore. I've created a family, right? I recently introduced a new board to our school. It's called the Junior Board. These are the individuals that's going to take over when I'm no longer doing this, when Susan is no longer doing this, when Campbell and Pierce and all my board members no longer doing this. They're going to be the next generation. These are kids that I've had around, neurotypical. These are the siblings that's been around since. Some of them since they've been 4, I've known them, 5. My kids don't know a world without autism. So with this junior board, my oldest daughter, she goes to the University of Alabama. She's on the board. Glenn's son, he went to Cornell College and he got a job in San Francisco. He's a part of it. And several of my board members' kids are a part of this board, and they help me with workshops. And they are relatable. And I've always done a workshop. I do a sibling workshop every year. But I have like 20, 30, 40 people who show up to this. And I talk to them about autism. And from that, I have other siblings that I know accepted it and understand it, talk to them. And the siblings will tell you that I want to go to SFACS. I want to be a part of I want to be at Dr. Moodie's school. Because they see it. I make them know that, you know what? This is not forced on you. You are the future, right? And at the end of the day, they are special in their own way, but you're special too. And I encourage the parents, because I do it too. I'm traveling in a couple of weeks with my first child. It's okay. Don't feel guilty if you spend time with the neurotypical child on their own. And you spend time with the child with autism too. And you spend time together. Because kids want that.
Yes,
they need their special time. Because for a very long time, I was that person who would judge a parent when they would leave their neurotypical child at home. I don't do that anymore because it's healthy. It's healthy that everyone has their special time. It's healthy.
So I just got the 2-minute.
Oh my God, I can talk forever.
We're only into chapter 5. And how many chapters are there? There's 13 chapters.
We got to do this again.
I hope so. So Dr. Moodie, I'll give you these 2 minutes now. You know what I want to cover, though, is the adult program that you're moving into. I was at the walk, and one of your staff members taught me about the adult, and I don't think that that's being talked about enough.
No.
Because this is a huge segment of the population. Not all of them, but a large percentage of them are going to be unemployable unless we intervene now.
So we're going to. So South Florida Autism Center has an adult program, 22 and older. We have 45 adults in our program right now. Our oldest is 38 years old.
Oh, really?
And for me, it's so important that we're thinking about their future. We're doing Volk Rehab. We're certified now. And on top of that, I have a partnership with Home Depot through the Ken Screw.
That's great.
I send 6 of my highest kids to the Ken Screw program. Only 1 was able to get a job.
So that's another question. I've been to a lot of Voc Rehab programs, and they say, we got wonderful students. When they get employed, everybody loves them, but we can't get people to take a chance on them. So how are you bridging that gap?
So what am I doing? So I'm looking at our part of the population. One of the things that I've kind of cut out with my kids, there's no phones. in our school until the end of the day.
That's wonderful.
A part of the reason why our kids, because the iPad, the phones are they're addictive, right? Another thing that we're doing is that we're creating the jobs for our kids. So we are going to employ them. We're going to create the jobs because honestly, there's things about our kids that it's difficult for them.
But how do you bridge the gap with employers like Home Depot?
We bring them to our school. We show them. We help them. One of the things that I did with Home Depot is that I was a part of the application process, right? I helped them. I was a part of the evaluation process. So we vetted our kids and we prepared them before they actually went. More preparation needs to be given, and some tough love needs to be given too. But he needs his phone. No, he doesn't. How is he going to work if he has his phone?
Because, today I'm going to be speaking to a young man who's got a bachelor's in graphic design, I think it is. He just can't get a job. So I'm going to because he doesn't interview well. He does a great job, but he just doesn't interview well.
But you know what I just did? At our school, I know we're probably finished, but at our school, what we just did, we do spelling bee. Okay. We do a job fair. We do a debate. We do a science fair. Why do I do that? I do that so our kids have those experiences.
Okay. Well, this is lovely. We're over time.
Oh, we're over time.
So, Dr. Moodie, if people want to get a hold of you, how can they do it?
You can visit our website, www.sfacs.org, and you can just email me at drmoodie@sfacs.org. You can also follow us on the web. Again, this is my book. I'm Still Like You, Autism Through Our Point of View. This book is like that book, but these are for the siblings.
Oh, for the siblings.
It's for the siblings.
Nice.
Walking in my shoe through my eyes.
I'm going to get it. I didn't know that.
This
that's
is
what it was.
amazing.
I have the other one.
It's amazing. I have a lot of parents buy it and they give it to their siblings and they don't put it down.
Nice.
Neurotypical siblings, kids with autism, it's a great gift. I'm so happy you brought me here. There's just so much that we're doing that the community need to know about. And this is my world. This is my world. I love my job. I love what I do.
You are an autism rock star. I'm glad you came. So this has been the Autism Podcast with Dr. Moodie of SFACS, and I hope that I get to speak to you again soon sometime.
I hope so too. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.